Universities, eh? So, several things have kind of come together around British campuses and the idea of rape culture and the idea of consent lately, and it's just interesting to note the kind of confluence of things that have been going on. Universities have come under the spotlight recently for their censorious nature, barring speakers, no platforming people, bizarre politics, but then student unions have often been known for bizarre politics, but with regard to these particular gender issues, especially, things seem to be coming to some sort of a head, I think. So, for those not following along, a student named George Lawler was invited to a consent class, which are these. Well, fortunately, over here in the UK, I don't think they're compulsory yet, as they are in some US universities, but they're these classes where you go along and you're told at length that rape is bad. As if you don't know that rape is bad and that consent is important. It's strange that we don't have don't murder people classes or don't steal classes, but apparently everyone's out there raping each other without having even the slightest clue that it's wrong, so we need these classes. Now, what's been surprising is that guys for a long time have just kind of gone along with this, go to the class, sit through it, yeah, without raising a fuss. George, on the other hand, decided to raise a stink about it and wrote an article. This is at Warwick University, by the way. And wrote an article saying, this is insulting, this is sexist, I don't need these lessons, nobody I know needs these lessons aren't going to make any difference whatsoever to anyone who's actually going to rape anybody, it's just insulting. And predictably got an enormous backlash of hate and vitriol and had to delete his Twitter account. In my opinion, I think these classes are confusing the issue of consent more than they're clarifying it. If you want to look at another case over at Oxford, a woman named Annie Tariba, who there was very much part of the social justice movement there, speaking up on LGBT rights and promoting the idea of rape culture to others, and she came out and kind of preemptively outed herself as not having sought consent constantly all the time for every single act while she was with someone before she got into trouble. But the way it's described in her letters and in the responses to her letter from the societies and so on that she's part of, it's kind of hard to understand exactly what she may have done wrong. I mean, once you're past, yes, I would like to have sex with you, everything's kind of negotiated and in the moment, so it's kind of hard to understand what she's talking about. And this is what I mean by the issue of consent becoming confused. In another story, recommendations have come out somewhere else, I can't remember exactly where at the moment, but that consent should be every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes of having sex, you should stop. Would you like to continue? It's a bit like having pop-ups come up in the middle of something. It's not particularly romantic or sexy, is it? So these classes, these ideas seem to me to be confusing the issue of consent, not making it clearer. Not, yes, I would like to have sex with you, no, I wouldn't. But this kind of weird ongoing software license agreement, are you sure, click yes, click yes, click yes, tick here, sign here, sort of thing. It just seems bizarre, alien and inhuman to me, but then maybe I need consent classes. So that all blows up. George has to delete his Twitter, gets a bunch of hate online, and people start commenting about it. And amongst the people commenting on it was this woman, Morgan, who I was apparently following because she's something in young adult fiction, and there's a lot of these kind of people in young adult fiction, which is a bit concerning because they seem to think it's a good way to shape young minds, whereas it should be to entertain, but that's beside the point. So she sees this fuss and then comments, "No, he's exactly what a rapist may look like, young, white, obnoxious and entitled. He's not brave, just ignorant." The racism and sexism and just awfulness of that post should be blatantly obvious to anyone who isn't away with the fairies in La La Land. And much like George got called out for rightly saying that these consent classes are a pointless waste of time in an echo chamber, she got called out for her racism and sexism. But it's different when it happens to them, isn't it? She locked down her account, she got a bunch of support everywhere from all kinds of people who don't seem to understand or realise that what she said was racist and sexist, and have engaged in a Mustafian practice of saying, no, she can't be sexist, she can't be racist, it's not sexist, no such thing as reverse racism or reverse sexism, which is all bollocks. It's not reverse racism or sexism, it's just racism or sexism. Prejudice on the basis of race, prejudice on the basis of sex. The very definitions of these terms. So we've got blatantly sexist classes being taught in universities to people about consent. That's not going to make any difference to rape figures whatsoever, because rapists aren't going to care. They're not going to have this sudden revelation. Oh, forcing my dick into someone who doesn't want it. Yeah, I didn't realise that was wrong. Or, forcibly enveloping someone who doesn't want it. I didn't realise that was wrong. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Furthermore, all this discussion and debate and some of the crazy theories going around about consent seems to be confusing matters to the point even where someone like Tariba, who is steeped in that culture, absolutely soaking in it, can't really describe what they did wrong, but they did something wrong, and then the whole group turns on themselves. And then you've got people saying, oh no, you should stop what you're doing, every 10 minutes to sign a notarized agreement that you consent. It's just blatantly, obviously stupid, and yet everyone's going along with it. And you've got to wonder why. Why aren't there more Georges out there saying, no, this is insulting, or going to the university and saying, this is discrimination? And why aren't they getting more support? So here I am saying, well done, George, keep it up, keep pointing out the bullshit. Maybe this idiocy will stop.